Good afternoon, everyone. How is my soul family? Hope everyone's doing well. See if we can see comments today. Let me know if you're on. Let me know if you're here. I'm excited to chat with you today. I'm having one of those emotional days. It's a good emotional day though, because I have lots of questions. And if you notice, I just posted for the video, what is your why? Today I wanted to talk about this. I think is an awesome topic. It's kind of a basic topic for those who want to start down their healing journey, or maybe you've already started but you've never really considered that question before. So let me know if you're on. It looks like, give me just a second so I can see my comments. Jennifer's on. Shoot, you're so funny, girl. You're telling me I'm late. You're waiting for me. You're so funny. I love you. She's posting on my, when I said I'd go live today, and telling me that she's waiting on me. Hello, Betty. Welcome. I want to be able to see all of your awesome comments. So let me know if you're on. I'm glad you're here. And yes, Jennifer, I'm here. I'm showing up just like I said I would. That's what we do, right? So I'm glad you're all showing up for you. Like I said before, I wanted to come on today. So let me know that you're on so I can see you all. But I wanted to come in and talk about what is your why. If you notice, that's what I put in as the title for this video. I wanted to talk about what is your why. I've had this question posted to me several times, and for different reasons, for different things. And so I wanted to come on and talk about it today because I think it's an important question. Hello, Kathy. Yes, we are winning. Awesome. Hello, Vicky. I love you too, Jennifer. Grateful for awesome people in my life because I have some pretty amazing people in my world. So anyway, like I said at the beginning, I've kind of it's been kind of an emotional, well, it's been an emotional week for me. It's kind of a weird place to be sometimes, but I know it's just part of my process and it's part of my healing and part of what's going on in my world right now and kind of some of the things that I'm dealing with. So today I wanted to talk about what is your why, and I know I've said that, but I wanted to ask you to really dig deep into that intuitive side of yourself today, and just take a minute and, what is your why? What makes you get up every day? What makes you push through when things are so hard that you don't have anything else to hold on to, but there's that one thing in the back of your head that keeps you going? Do any of you have any of that? Have any of you thought about that? What is your why for showing up in life? What is your why for getting out of bed in the morning? And I would love it if you would share that with me if you want to, if you feel like that's a safe place for you to share. Because I think this is such an important question that we kind of gets overlooked sometimes. And the reason that I've brought this up is because I've had last week or so, I've had an amazing opportunity to work with some brilliant people, and they're brilliant at what they do, and they're helping me put together more stuff for you guys. Good afternoon, Bernie. Because my why in business is each and every one of you. My why in what I do every day, my why in putting myself aside, and because when we live in the woo-woo world, it would be much easier to just pretend it didn't exist and go over and do something else, do something that's a little more socially acceptable. But I look at the amazing connections that I've been able to make and the people that I feel like that I've been able to help, and they're all my why for doing what I do every day. And so I wanted to ask you this question: what is your why? Do you have a why? Do you know what makes you get out of bed every day and think, okay, I can do this, when it is so hard that you just don't think you can do it? So I would love for you to share with me if you want to share your why. I was thinking about, I've mentioned it before, and someday I will share We have a lot of things going on in our family life and in my social relationships with my kids and stuff, and there's a lot going on there. And I've asked myself, why do I keep pushing? Why do I keep going? Well, my why in that situation is for each and every one of my kids because I want them to know that they are loved. I want them to know that they are supported. And the reason that I go there is because I didn't always feel like I had that growing up, and a lot of us have those same feelings. So, my why in that world, those are my kids, those are my husband. I keep pushing forward. And even what I do here, if I have to be honest with that, is to go back to I do it for them because I want to be the best me that I can be. I want to be the best healer that I can be. I want to be the best that I can be for each and every one of you. And they give me that courage. So, I would love to hear what are your whys? What is it that why do you get up every day? Why is it that you do what you do? So, Jennifer posted her kids. Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you there. Brandy's got heart. I think this question is so hard, and if you don't know your answer, you need to go find your answer because it is important that you know without a shadow of a doubt when the shit gets deep, this is why I'm going to keep pushing forward because we all know that that shit gets really deep. And sometimes it feels like the deepest mud you've ever been in, and you just feel like no matter what you do or how you're going or what you're doing, that you're just not going to be able to move. But if you know your why, you'll still get up and move. And if you know that you have people who are depending on you and that love you and that want to see you succeed, you'll get up and move. And even if you don't have that, if you know deep inside of yourself that you're going to be okay, you're going to get up and move. And that's the message that I want to send to you all today because you need to understand there is a reason we all need a why. Hello, Miss Vicky. There is a reason that we need to have that why. There's a reason that we need to understand it. And nobody can give you your why. You have to discover that yourself. And we do that by finding quiet moments, tapping deep inside of ourselves and asking ourselves, what is it that's going to make me want to show up every day? What is it that I have in my world that when the shit gets going deep, I know that I can remind myself, this is my why. And it's such an important thing for me. Um, I know, it's really made me take a step back, all this work that I've been doing to bring you guys some amazing stuff. Hello, John. Um, I've been doing a lot of work on the sidelines. I've been doing a lot of stuff because my why is to be able to show up and help as many people as I can help. And not just one and two here and there. I want to be able to reach out and help many people. And doing what I'm doing now is fabulous, but the work that I'm doing to get to the next step is going to be even greater. And I know that by doing that, and whenever I question myself or wonder if I'm on the right path, I go back to my why. And I already know my why. And I have that deep, deep, deep desire inside of me that I know I can push off of my why and go, this is why I'm going to keep going. This is why I'm going to do this. This is why, even when I feel like I don't have enough time in the day or why I can't do all of these things, this is my why. And I'm going to keep doing it. Even if it means that some days aren't as productive as others, even if it means I didn't feel like I accomplished much that day. Because I know I just go back to that and go, it's okay. We still got tomorrow and we're going to do what we need to do. So I wanted to share, this message has been with me like all day. I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't know which one of you, but I know that it's for someone. And I wanted to share it with you because it has been literally like beating down my door all day. And I keep getting reminded of it through my appointments today. I keep getting reminded of it during things that are going on in my world today. And it just keeps coming up. So I wanted to come on and post this out there for you. I love how Jennifer said my kids are my why. For most of us, our kids are our why. That's why we do what we do. Most of us have that desire to show up and be those, to try anyway and be the very best that we can be for them. Even when it's hard, even when you feel like you're just going through the mud, even when you feel like you can't take not one more step. But I want to tell you, you can take that next step. And you can, and you should. Because there's something deep inside of you that's still pushing you along. Find that strength inside each and every one of you. Does anybody on here today just feel like they're just in the mud. Put your hand up, do whatever. I don't need to know what's going on. Are you walking through the sludge today? Are you in the mud hole? Like, what is it for you? Um, does anybody feel this way? Am I alone in all of this? Like, let me know, because I would love to hear. Anybody else? hmm Betty says yep. Brandy says yes. You all understand that feeling. Sometimes it just feels so heavy. Um, the other thing is, I say that, I'm being reminded to tell you, you know what, we place such heavy expectations on ourselves, and then wonder why when we go through the mud, because we don't understand our own strength and our own why it's so hard. I know, I'm sure you guys can all raise your hand too. I've spent a lot of years beating myself up over dumb things that in the end really didn't matter. Carrie's saying, yep, yep. I spent a lot of time really just beating myself up over things that didn't matter. And especially when I was going through a hard time, I would judge myself every day based on how I felt and my perceptions, even though I would never tell anybody the things that I was telling myself. Brandy says, I feel like I cannot climb out of this overwhelmed pit I'm in. You understand. It's a horrible place to be when we get to that place where we feel hopeless. When we get to that place where we feel like we're stuck, that's when we have lost our productivity. That's when we need to take a step back. I love the word pivot. We've talked about that word pivot before, and find a different way to go and stop telling yourself I can't. Start telling myself I'm going to find something new. I'm going to find something different. I'm going to do something different. This isn't working. This isn't helping me. So what can I do differently? And just little small steps. You don't have to take big, huge ones, little teeny tiny small steps. Maybe just shifting that word from I cannot climb out to I will find a way. Just changing those words up just a little bit, gives you just a little bit more hope, just a little bit more something, so that maybe you can feel like you can do it for one more day, just one more minute, just one more hour. I know a lot of times I come on here and I talk to you about all the cool stuff, and you gotta hurrah, hurrah, people, come on, pull yourself out. Some days it just is not that easy. And it's really not. It feels like it's overwhelming. But I'm telling you today, you can do it. Randy says, good afternoon. I'm not knowing a life direction. So you know what? It's okay to be there. We don't need to know a life direction. For me, I've talked about this before too, just a little tiny breadcrumbs along the way. Once we get you need to bring yourself out of this hopelessness into there are possibilities for me. And if you can just make that subtle shift, there's still a way. Having just that little bit of hope, just pivoting just a little bit, and then we don't need to know the whole direction. I only need to know what's my next step. And that is the question that you need to get a little bit quiet about. After you've asked yourself, what is my why? Why am I going to do this? Then you can ask, what is my next step? And I usually don't get my answers while I'm sitting in meditation, begging my guides to give them to me. I usually get them while I'm at the grocery store, or while I'm doing something, I'm washing dishes, because I really do all that kind of stuff. And that's when I'm like, oh, I need to call this person. Oh, well, I could have done that. I need to do this. Okay, well, that I can do. Like, that I can really do. So it doesn't come all in this big old, here's your direction, here you go, like, let me show you the yellow brick path. It usually doesn't come to us that way. It comes to us in little pieces, little by little by little by little. So if you can just trust in those little pivots, those little directions, those little things, we can sometimes pull ourselves out little by little and come from this place of being overwhelmed and I can't move to, okay, there's a little bit of hope. I have a sliver, because that's all we need, right? Raise your hand if you understand what I'm saying to you. Because all we need is just a teeny tiny sliver of hope. And, I talk about, if you're in the religious side, the faith of a mustard seed. Really, that's all we need. Brandy says, I keep remembering how you said we need to take time for ourselves. I'm really trying to apply that into my life. This climb is a big one, step by step. Brandy, I'm kind of in your same boat, and there are some big steps that I feel like, but I also know that I can't take all the big steps all at once because I've learned that through my life. And yes, it is absolutely critical that we take a step back and take time for ourselves. This is where we find those answers to our questions. This is where we find our why. This is where we give ourselves hope for just 1 second that everything is going to be okay. You don't find it when you're running around crazy telling myself I can't do this shit anymore and it's too hard. You're not going to get your answers in that place. You've got to come at least shift just a little bit, pivot just a little bit and go, okay, so this isn't working. Maybe I can just have a little bit more trust, a little bit more faith that something else is coming my way. Just teeny tiny bit. Randy says, kind of, I wish it wasn't so complicated. It's really not complicated. We make it complicated in our head. We try to take on the whole problem. I told you last time I talked to you, when there was a time when, we had 3 kids in college and we had a lot going on. We were building a cabin for ourselves and we just had so much going on and it was so overwhelming to me. And I just felt like it was just this big ball of nothingness and I wasn't dealing with it very well. And I remember telling the universe, okay, so this is how this is gonna go. We're gonna do this first and this second and this third, and this is my outcome over here is we're gonna have all of these bills and all this stuff taken care of. And meanwhile we found out my daughter had diabetes and all of this. So you can imagine, there's a lot going on here. And instead of I was making it complicated because I'm telling the universe, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. Instead of having just that teeny tiny bit of faith and going, okay, no, there's a little bit, all I need is a little bit of faith here. This is going to work out. And I'll just let them figure it out for me. And I'm just going to step back here and go and do what we don't get off the hook. You don't get to just take a free break. You need to listen to the little things that you're told. And if you're told to call someone, you need to do that. If you're told you should connect with someone, you need to do that. And those are the kind of things that you need to look forward to. Those are the kind of things that's how we get our help. Carrie said, this is so real. Speaking of dishes, I was doing dishes yesterday and was asking myself, how do I get more faith? Did I ever have it? I pray, but do I have faith? Lots of faith questions. Carrie, those are good questions to ask yourself. Faith is something out there that we can't really see and we can't really measure. To me, I believe you did have faith, and you do have faith, or you wouldn't get up every day. Because for me and my feelings on the whole faith thing, I have to have a little bit to understand that I have a purpose here. It has to be just a teeny tiny bit so that I understand that, there's a reason that I'm here. I have to have that in order to even want to stay here. So, when people lose that faith, they lose that hope, that's when everything is pretty much gone. Like at that point, we are at rock bottom. And, that's where we have a lot of other complicated things come in. So you have to have had just a little bit of faith to get up to this point. And I'm telling you, that's where you get your answers. Do the dishes if you want to get some answers. Wash your dishes by hand. That gets you lots of good answers. Like there's just this part here where you just need to show up. And I love that you said this is real. I want you to see, there are some really real days for me. And I really like to be down to earth with all of you because I want you to see, I'm just like you. I struggle just like you. I have emotions just like you guys. The only thing that is different for me now is that over these years, I've learned how to deal with them in a different way. And I've learned not to go in the hole, at least not quite so far or quite so long, and how to bring myself over to this place of having just a little bit of hope. Just a little bit of hope in the process, just a little bit of there must be something bigger than me out there that knows a whole lot more than I do, and I'm going to trust in that for just a hot minute. So yeah, this is how I look at this whole why thing. Carrie, you're like, do I have faith? What is your why for getting up every day? For some people, it is our faith. For some people, it is, if you go to more of the spiritual or religious side, that's sometimes what gets people moving every day. For some people, they know they've got people depending on them. So that gives them the faith to move on and do what they need to do or to keep pushing forward. Maybe that's not even faith in that. It's just pushing forward. So, Carrie, for you, what is it that keeps you moving every day? Randy, I'll throw that out to you. You're telling me it's complicated. What is it that keeps you moving forward? So what is it for both of you? Carrie said, think you needed that answer from you. And yes, Have no dishwasher all by hand. Awesome. You know what? I actually don't mind washing dishes. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that's going to take forever. But I wash a lot of my dishes by hand too, and I actually don't mind it at all. And I love, there's something about running the hot soapy water in there and just wiping everything down that brings me great satisfaction. Like, it feels all nice and clean to me. So yeah, yeah, you know what? Though, but there has to be something there. You wouldn't keep moving forward. I think a lot of times we doubt because we think it's something bigger than it is. We think that, oh my gosh, if I was more faithful. I was just talking to another girl that I met with today. We were talking about surrendering in to what life has to offer us because we don't always get handed what we think we can handle. And we get into these places of despair and hopelessness, and it just feels miserable. Um, the only thing you need to do at that point is find something that will bring you hope. Find something that will push you forward for just one more hot second. And maybe that's talking to someone, like me or one of your friends who says, you know what, no, it's going to be okay. Like, it's really just not, maybe it's you digging deep down inside and going, okay, what is my why? Who am I showing up for? Why do I need to keep pushing forward? Because those are the questions that we're not relying on anyone else to answer. We must answer those ourselves. So, Lorna, I've always washed my dishes. You've never owned a dishwasher, Lorna? I'm sorry. I even have one in my cabin. I know that's horrible, but I really like, um, although up in my cabin, I don't use it a lot. We have solar up there and I just don't use it a lot. So, but I still use it. We have lots of people. I love my dishwasher. Dishwashers are awesome. So that's awesome. Does anybody have any comments, anything that they would like to share? I would love to hear from all of you because I know a lot of times I just flap my jaws forever. But I would love to hear your opinion on this, your answers. Does anybody, do you understand um, shifting that into just a little bit of faith, shifting ourselves out of this place of despair into just a teeny tiny bit of, I have to keep going. It makes such a huge difference in our lives. I think a lot of times we think we're helpless, like that we can't change this for ourselves. We may not be able to change situations, but we can always change our thought process that's wrapped around it. And I know if any of you know Wayne Dyer, I love one of his sayings is never make anything worse than it really is. And I know a lot of times our head, our inner ego wants to go, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Nothing else could possibly be worse than this. When in reality, that's just our perception of it. And there are many things that could be worse than that. So, if we can just change just that little bit. He also has another saying that when you change the way you think about things around you change because suddenly they're in a different light. And really, those things haven't changed, but the way that we think about them has totally changed. And that's what's important to me. That's how we find our strength. That's how we find um, this will to move forward when life gets so hard. Dealing with pretty heavy things, it's difficult sometimes. But I know inside of each and every one of you, you have exactly what you need to push forward. And we forget that. And that's probably my big message for you today is I want to remind you that you have everything you need inside of you. There's nothing on the outside that you need because you have it all deep inside with yourself. It's learning to tap into that part of yourself, learning to tap into that intuition part of yourself. And you can't do that if you're in desperation. I promise you, you won't hear it. When you're in total, everything is in meltdown mode, you will not hear those because you're not in a vibration to get that. Those intuitive feelings come from somewhere up here in this vibration. If we're down here in the dirt slushing around, you're not doing anything. Vicky says nothing changes if nothing changes. Exactly. You have to make some sort of change, and it usually needs to come with the way that you're thinking about the situation. And if you can do that, there's always hope. Just that first little step. And if you can have that first little step, then we can move on to the second thing. And then we can move on to the next step for you, whatever that is for you. Follow those breadcrumbs, whatever it is that you're working through. There's always places to go. There's always people that you can connect with. There's always things that you can do so that you can feel better about the situations that you're in. I guarantee if you look around, you will find people that you're like, oh, keep my problem, thanks. Because we don't ever want to go across the fence over into what other people are dealing with, but we have this mentality of mine's the most horrible thing in the world. So, just doing that little shift in there, um, figuring out, what is it that makes you show up? And when you feel like you can't show up anymore, remind yourself, this is why I do it. This is why I show up. I wanted to come on and show up here for you guys today because, like I said earlier, this message has been pounding in my head all day long. So I wanted to share it with you because I know that there's someone out there who needs to hear this. I know that there's someone out there who needs to refocus, readjust, move on to something else. Brandy, yep, that's what I'm talking about, Brandy. For me, it's changing my focus. I look for the positive in my day rather than always dwelling on the negative. Absolutely. That will bring you out of it quicker than anything you can even imagine. Just turn it around because there's always a new day. There's always tomorrow. There's always next week. It's going to be okay. And sometimes problems don't fix themselves in a day or overnight or over. It takes a while to figure them out. But like I said, I have this word, I surrender into the universe, and I surrender, which is why I'm here, because I have learned to surrender into that. Because seriously, if it was just me doing this, I would have quit a long time ago. Because there are days when I just don't want to show up. There are days when I think it's too hard. There are days when I feel like that I'm not good enough to be doing what I'm doing. And that is not truth for me. That's when that little inner critic crawls in and tells me that I'm not enough, and that is not true. And I know that now. You guys all need to find that for yourself too, because that is not true for any of you. We all have a purpose. We all have a plan. Find your why, dig in deep, and keep moving through these difficult times for all of us, because it hasn't been easy and we're all going through our own issues. We all have our own things going on, and it is okay. It's okay to have a mad day. It's okay to have a sad day. It's okay to have these days. Just don't camp out there. Let it move through. Ask for help. Remember your why. And try to change that little negative talk things you're telling yourself into the positive. And I promise there's nothing that can stop you if you will do those steps. So I hope you got something from this. I appreciate you all tapping in today with me. Appreciate you all connecting with me. I am honored to be in each and every one of your lives. And I hope that you have a magnificent afternoon. And I will talk to you all again very soon. Much love, everyone. See you later.